Hi, everybody.
Всем привет. Now you see, now it's an
Okay, let's start.
Mhm.
Welcome, everybody. It's class 3, ACI 5,
Mhm.
How Karma Works.
Lots of really fundamental ideas.
Fundamental. Like every single class from now on will be like really big ideas on karma.
Yeah, things that will stay with you for the rest of your samsara career, for the rest of your existence, probably.
And let's start with the motivation, because to be honest, when we studied, we were doing formal prayers in ancient language. Only 6,100 people, 600,000 people only speak as of today. No, 6 million, maybe 6 million.
What are you talking about?
Tibetans.
Oh, how many people speak Tibetan? Yeah, 6 million
6
sounds
million,
about right. Yeah.
So not that many, right? People left who can speak it, but it's in ancient language, and we can do it once formal. And you can find all the traditional prayers in your reading when you read after the class. Actually, I'm not sure we mentioned that there is a reading to every single class. I think we were talking about homeworks, but not really about readings. There is a very cool reading for every single class. It is translated in most of languages. I mean, maybe at the very least for people who come online, I think all your languages are available. So,
and Tibetan's, I know we said it last time, but Tibetan's a beautiful language, very consistent. Frankly, I think the alphabet is really beautiful. And if you want to learn, there's a program where you can go to the monastery in India next fall and learn. So,
yeah, there are not that many places. Don't think that like 100 of you can go on something. Well, I think it's maximum six people can attend the program, and that's already too much.
And we have an obligation. We haven't talked about this, but we're supposed to teach Tibetan ourselves.
Yeah, we are.
So
when you go to a program like that, you sign. Actually, I didn't sign, but you did.
Yeah.
Finally, I forgot to send an email, but I will. That I confirm that I will teach what I was taught. So, okay, close your eyes. Let's do it in the form that is not formal, and just sit up straight and bring your mind back from wherever it was wandering around today to the here and now. Make several exhales and inhales. Think about your life. What are your problems that you try to solve? What brings you joy in your life? And what is your ultimate goal in your life? Is there anything that if you will die like within 10 minutes, you will regret of that you haven't done yet? And dedicate this class to get your problems solved, to reach your ultimate goal, and to help everybody else to do the same. Imagine that the time will come that you will change your seeds dramatically, and you will see the world around you as completely happy. And this is the pay for this class. You basically promise to us that you will implement this knowledge and you will build your ultimately happy world. Because you can plant the seeds. Go back to your breathing, open your eyes.
Excuse me.
You distracted us from the meditation. Horrible. Okay.
I wouldn't say that they owe us anything. You know, you say this, the pay is that you do something for us. They don't owe us anything. I mean, they will want for themselves to create a better world,
I think they owe to me. Okay, you don't owe to Bill, okay?
You're free.
You're not free from building your paradise for me. I request
do it for her.
And basically, you will be the only one who will really ultimately benefit out of it, right? Okay.
Yeah, it's hopeful, right? Because you know, there's a lot of troubling things going on in the world. And it's easy to feel helpless, right? You know, I'm not in charge of the country directly at the moment. But you are in charge at the root level for the future. You can change it, right? It's your world that you're seeing. Deeds cause the multitude of worlds. It's hard to imagine, but you can change.
Yeah, and with every single class, you will see how exactly you can change it. So it's interesting because in the big book we showed to you, they describe 3 kinds of karma, right? And this is where the whole ethics idea come from. I mean, every single religion in the world, they teach ethics, but it's not really clear why everybody should be ethical, except there is a rule that somebody made it, right? And I was preparing to this class. I decided to listen to some different religious leaders. I mean, for me, this is not religion. Like what ACI teaches is not a religion, because it's a path of evolution. Anybody can make it, whatever your religion is, and basically, ultimately, any religion leads to the same exact thing, if it is understood and practiced correctly, which quite often is not the case.
Yeah, I think that's a really interesting point, because you know, we know that there are physical laws, right? Like there's formulas for kinetic energy and force and, mathematical laws, and, everybody accepts those, right? I mean, any intelligent person looking at it would have to accept it, right?
Yeah, there is an anecdote like a Buddhist, a Christian, and a Muslim decided to jump out of the window from the 5th floor.
Okay.
Who survived? I mean, laws of physics are laws of physics, right?
Yeah, exactly. Right. And then there's spiritual laws. And if that the result that you get will be similar to the cause. The cause produces a similar result. The result will be greater than the cause. You can't get a result unless you had a prior action, and if you take an action, you will get a result, right? Those are you could call them spiritual laws, but it doesn't make a difference whether you call yourself a Christian or call yourself Muslim or Jew or Taoist or Jainist. You're going to be bound by those because you have a mind, and that's the way your mind is working. And so it's hard. It's harder to see these laws than it is, like kinetic energy, right?
Mm-hmm.
1/2 mass times velocity squared. I mean, that's easier to measure, right? And it's actually like deeply hidden. It's not just hidden, but it's deeply hidden. You won't really see these laws until later, and so then it gets to be it's a tricky thing, right? How can you have confidence that these are accurate? How can we have confidence that karma is a thing, that cause and effect is for real? And you really get down until you've had the direct perception of emptiness yourself. You get down to having to depend on another authority, on somebody who has seen it.
Yeah, basically, how we how you say, how you can trust an authority, right? It should be talking to you, to your logic at the very least, right? What they are teaching. Like when you read like 4 Arya truths, everything is suffering. There is a cause of suffering. There is a end of suffering, and there is a path to stop all the suffering, like the very first teaching of the Buddha Shakyamuni that he gave. And I remember when I heard it for the first time, I was like, wow, really? He thinks that everything is suffering? Like, why does he think so? There are good things in this world, right? Like, my child was born, I was happy, or I got married for the first time, I was happy. I got married for the second time, I was happy. So, I mean, yeah, okay, there are divorces, and my mom died, and my grandparents all died. Yeah, there is death, but there is something happy in this world. And then when you study it a little bit, right, and they teach you that, yeah, okay, there are temporarily good things, but ultimately everything will get rotten. Like everything that is born will die. It's not suffering that it's pleasant right now. The suffering is that 100% guaranteed everything you have, you will lose. This is suffering. Like there are there is straight suffering, right?
Yeah.
You will lose everything you like, second suffering. And the third one, guess what? Anything bad can happen at any moment if you are here in this reality, and you see yourself as a meat on bones with the skin, and you have your mind that understands right now what I say. So, is there anything we can change? And
everything.
yeah, everything. if you know what ethics is, why anybody should be ethical, how to be ethical, and some mechanism how it works, right?
And this is why there is such a thing as ethics, right? And I guess I don't guess the more accurate term would be morality. But morality in the United States has taken on some unpleasant connotations, so we use the term ethics. But
Yeah, I don't like morality.
yeah, it's gotten a morality has gotten a bad name because people abused it because they claimed that they were morally superior to other people.
You know what? I was thinking about these two words, ethics versus morality, and I think I know the difference. So when we say ethics, it's not necessarily that we feel that we will judge another person, and when we say moral, immoral, then there is a connotation of being judgmental, and other people guilty of what they're doing,
Yeah, well, the connotations have changed. So morality would be something that would produce a virtuous result, a moral person. But then it became the word has become contaminated, and it means somebody who's judgmental, right? And so ethics would be like the mafia has a code of ethics that says we don't inform on our fellow mafia members. Like that's they're part of their code of ethics. Now it's not moral, but it's their own internal set of rules that they follow. And so they believe it's a set of rules that they believe is going to contribute to their good. But so that's ethics. So that's why ethics is not a precise term, but it's what we use because it's the best one we got right now.
Yeah, and this is very like for American English speakers, because I know that in other languages the connotations are not at all the same. So don't get a little bit frustrated if you think like, really, mafia is ethical? Who told you that, right?
Well, okay, so ethical is going to be a little different. They have a code of ethics.
Yeah,
behavior. But it would only be ethical within their group, right? And so anyway, it's small point. But it's related to what are the types of actions that you can take? It's related to all these questions.
Yeah, because I want to make a point that here you will hear the ultimate reason to be ethical, and it is not to correspond to somebody's judgment, like this is good, this is bad. Like one group of people decided for you that these 10 things are good things, everything else is bad, or like this is moral, this is immoral. It is very beautiful because you will not depend on other people's judgments if you will understand it. You will depend on your own judgment. Okay? So let's go. There are 3 kinds of karma from the point of view of result that you will get. So the ethics here is not to correspond to some weird ancient something, right? Ethics here is what you will get as a result.
Yeah, I like it. A virtuous action is something which produces a pleasurable result in the short term, and ultimately, now this is interesting, ultimately protects you from suffering by getting you out of samsara altogether, that leads you towards nirvana, which is, again, nirvana being different than full enlightenment, nirvana being the cessation of your mental afflictions.
Yeah, basically you will not be able to stop you to be constantly happy, and it will increase because you will not get any single negative emotion if you get to nirvana.
And they have to include getting to nirvana because everything else prior to that is going to have some kind of contamination, right? I mean, even things that look pleasurable, right? Like, like a meal, right? Seems like it's pleasurable, but then, it's like Geshe-la's famous line about
I
it.
remember that.
Well, because this was one of those, like, is a meal pleasurable was one of those difficult topics for me, particularly as a young man. I'm like, well, yeah, I enjoy eating. Okay, and then they say, well, there's a pain associated with it. You're hungry beforehand, and you're kind of like, well, yeah, but I still enjoy the meal. And then Geshe-la said, well, I don't enjoy pooping, and it's like, oh, okay, yeah, okay, that it always goes with it, right? And so yeah, it's unpleasant, so there's always something like that associated with everything here.
Mhm.
uh and so
So let
and by
me,
here I mean samsara.
and then in these classes, you are supposed to plant seeds for ancient languages, for example, for Tibetan.
Mhm.
So I will read it, and you can try to pronounce it. And it's just a blessing because it comes from very sacred books where the whole mechanism, how the reality works, is described. So, Reshik Namin Yeon Tan, Tentu Tukngel Kyopei Leningeva. And that's the definition. Virtuous action, or let's put it in easier words, good action, good deed is something that brings you good result.
Yeah.
That the result you will like. And non-virtuous or bad deed is something that will bring you a result that you will not like.
Mm. Yeah, that's pretty straightforward, right? Hard to argue with that, right? Was it virtuous? Well, is it going to make you happy?
Yeah. So maybe you do not know, but languages are different. And in some languages, there are words that are absent in other languages. By the way, today Russian and Ukrainian translators will have a hard time to translate in one word, and I will write you down how to translate it correctly, because it is still not translated correctly in our materials. I guess, yeah, because and the reason why this word is not correctly translated in the materials, because you guys do not have this word in English, what we have in Russian, Ukrainian, and Tibetan. So, and I will tell you which one later. No, I will tell you another word now. And this is the word guilt that is not in Tibetan. There is no such an equivalent. In Tibetan, there is no word for guilt. Because they do not feel any use of any need in this word. They cannot use it. For example, I'm now thinking what to say not to offend some of the countries that they don't have words for this. But I think honestly, it's a good thing not to have the word for guilt, right? Because there is nothing that I can think that can be good out of this word.
Well, the reason is like you feel guilty, you feel bad about yourself, right? I feel guilty.
Yeah, they had the word for regret.
Yeah, to regret. And so I think we've discussed this in previous classes, but it's not when you do something wrong, it's coming out of ignorance. It was a mistake. It's not that you are a bad person. It's that you made a mistake. You did something out of ignorance that's going to bring yourself pain in the future. You've hurt somebody in the present moment, and that pain is going to come back to you. And so it's not that you're guilty, like, oh, I'm bad, I'm a guilty person. It's I made a mistake. It's like, in the example Geshe uses is that it's like, you drank poison and you didn't realize it was poison until after you'd swallowed it. And that's like, oh, well, okay, so I did something ignorant that's going to hurt myself. Stupid. Yeah, I did something stupid, but I'm not a bad person. I just made a mistake. And so that's why the Tibetans don't have guilt.
Yeah. So basically, if like in different cultures, people had to use the word guilt, it was probably because there was a bunch of people, a group of people who made the rules, right? So it's not that I cannot really be guilty in front of myself, right? It's very difficult. I mean, you can if you were brought with the sense of shame and guilt altogether, but it's kind of easier to feel guilty because of other people. And basically, if there was a set of rules, and then it's not that I will suffer from it, but if somebody makes me follow these rules, then when I will probably have the sense of guilt, right? So no guilt, just you do stupid things, you get the result. You do smart things.
Okay, and so now we got to finish this question.
Yeah.
So non-virtue would be any action which is going to bring you
Bad
pain.
result.
Yeah, a bad result. So it's pretty straightforward, right?
Namin yi mionbe leni migeva in Tibetan.
And so these things, right? These things are universal. It's not like this is why we were saying earlier. It's not a matter of being one religion or the other. It's just the way your mind is working. Hurt somebody, you're going to get hurt. Help somebody, you're going to get a positive result.
Okay, then there is a third thing, right? So I can do something good, I can do something bad. Can I do something neutral?
It must be.
Yeah, if it's neither first nor second, then it's neutral. None of the two results. If the action does not give you pleasurable or painful result, then it's neutral. And in Tibetan it is Yeon Yimion Le Shenpei Leni Lunmaten. And Lunmaten actually is a very cool word. Do you remember what is Lunmaten?
I don't.
Lun is to speak, ma is not, and ten teaching, not spoken in teaching. So when somebody would ask, is it good or bad? And somebody would say, the Buddha did not say anything on the subject, Lunmaten. And this became a word in Tibetan for neutral.
Okay.
In modern Tibetan, if you want to say neutral, Lunmaten.
Lunmaten. Great piece of knowledge. Lung also, you'll hear that phrase frequently in different contexts, but they say, well, you have to get the lung. So sometimes the monks, if there was a text, they would just read it, and so that you would hear it. It's very important to get the verbal transmission of some of the more holy text. And so you would hear that your teacher would read it and you would listen to it, and you would be getting the lung from them. And then it's in your mind stream because you've had a mental impression of the entire text. It's like you kind of put it in the library of your mind.
And this is basically what you are getting right now, right? Because you are getting the teaching.
Yeah. But it can mean specifically formally reading like the Heart Sutra, like we're going to read the Heart Sutra and you'll get the lung for it.
Okay, so the idea is that whatever you do to another person is recorded in your mind, right? The imprints stay in your mind, they become potential, and then you get what you were doing. And the thing is that why there is such a definition, right? What brings you good, like positive is what brings you pleasurable results, and negative or bad deeds, what brings you painful results, is because there are laws of karma, right? And it includes also your motivation. So it's not only the action. The action can be the same. I don't know, what could be the same action? For example, I can, I don't know, I can give somebody a pill that will help with a headache, or the same exact pill can provoke allergy at somebody else, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if I know in advance that the person has allergy,
oh,
then same exact action will be either very positive or very negative. Now, another example is like famous example from the old books is when one monk was going by a statue and it was raining. So he took off his shoes and put on top of the statue to protect from raining, and created huge amount of good karma.
I never liked this story because I never liked, in India particularly, it's so dirty, right? There's animals, they use the streets, and so the animals, poop and pee-pees all over the streets, and dirty. And so I never really liked the idea of putting
maybe it was in America, not in India.
Yeah, well, yeah. I never liked the idea of putting a shoe on top of a Buddhist statue, even if it was raining. So, but anyway, they do say that guy created a virtue because he thought he was helping, right?
Yeah. And the other day, another monk was going by the same exact statue, and oh my God, horrifying. Somebody put sandals on top of the statue, and he took away the shoe from the statue and created same exact amount of virtue.
Yeah.
So something that looks similar maybe not necessarily can be good or bad, because it may really depend on the motivation.
And what I like about this is that, you do get a set of vows, right? You get your freedom vows and your bodhisattva vows, and you can take Vajrayana vows and monks vows.
Okay, you can get.
You can.
Because we have people who maybe did not hear the word vows yet.
But what's interesting about them is, there are guidelines, but then you have to apply them, right? I mean, there's times that a vow can break another vow, and you're forced to apply it, right? And it's not as simple as just following a set of computer code where it's always going to do exactly the same thing every time. You're actually put in the position of having to think about what would be best for somebody else.
Yeah, I call it turn on your brain.
Yeah, well, it can be quite challenging at times.
Yeah, like, okay, let's think about something. Like, for example, there is a vow, like we have freedom vows and bodhisattva vows, right? And higher vows. And in our vows, we are supposed not to lie ever, right? But what if, I don't know, the door opens and somebody runs into the room and somebody is chasing, right? And with visibly bad intentions. And then the person hides somewhere, where. And then the other guys come and where is he, or where is she? Okay. And then what you will tell, right?
Yeah, it's World War II. Yeah, you have a Jewish person that's hiding in your home. The Nazis knock on the door and they say, is there a Jewish person in your house? And the thing is, the question isn't really, is there a Jewish person in the house? The question is there a Jewish person in the house because we want to take them and kill them? Yeah. And then it's like, well, okay, the answer then is, well, no, there's not a Jewish person in the house that you can take and kill.
Yeah, and it becomes really, really tricky sometimes, because if you will follow this path, which is extremely beautiful, oh my God, you will feel on yourself how your mind is changing because it is influenced by these teachings. They are so beautiful. You will see yourself totally changing. I mean, sometimes I find my very old 6 times books, you know, where we write down the ethical principles and we observe how what we have done and is there any action to be done. Like, for example, by mistake I got upset with my husband. Oh my God, I need to clean it, I purify it right away. So then this is why we do the 6 times books, because this is a crazy useful tool that will help you to observe what's going on in your mind, right? And also meditate better if you will use it. So with this 6 times book, you can really get to a totally different level. And I wanted to say something.
Oh, am I distracting you? There you go.
That's fine. So anyway, we will get to the 6 times book, I think, later. Let's go to the next question. Artem, can we see the slide? Yeah, okay. Yeah. So there are, how can we know that what we do is good or bad? Like, are there any other signs? And there are actually 4 kinds of good and for good karmic seeds. And here we have like second kind, 3 versions of the second kind. I will just name first the 4 kinds of good karmic seeds. First is called ultimate good deed, or Dundam Geva. It is actually nirvana, right? It's not an action, so it's only nominally can be called karma. This second one has 3 parts, or 3 virtuous mental functions, and they are good by their very nature. So basically we have different translations right now. So let's read the old ones and I will tell you how we translate it right now. And I will tell you why there is a difference, okay? So the old translations are non-desire, understanding the selflessness of things, and so not desiring them. Boy, so many misunderstandings of this one.
Yeah, that's not a good translation. It's a horrible translation, frankly.
Duchak Mepa, wait. Then second one is non-hatred, understanding the selflessness of things and so not hating them. Shedan Mepa. Stay with us, we will explain everything. I know it's not clear at all. And third one is non-ignorance, having wisdom, Timok Mepa. Okay, so now we can turn the slides off and now we will explain. So at the root of all the suffering we were talking about, there are 3 things, just 3. They're also very famously called 3 poisons. It's ignorance, that now we translate as misunderstanding. Second is liking, ignorant liking, that in this old translation was non-desire, desire. Liking, desire. And ignorant disliking, in this old translation, it was like hatred. Unfortunately, this kind of not great translation you will find in any Buddhist texts. And this is one of the reasons a lot of modern people, they cannot really relate to this teaching through traditional format because they need more explanation.
And these are the three things that are at the center of the wheel of life, right? Ignorance is.
I will bring the wheel of life.
Ignorance is the root of all of this, and that's the pig that's at the center, and then from the pig comes ignorant liking, which can either be a rooster or a pigeon, and then there's ignorant disliking, which is the snake. And you guys have seen this before.
Yeah, this is the center of the wheel of life. There is a whole teaching about this wheel of life, very beautiful, about how we come to the world and why we suffer in this samsaric wheel, right? I call it, you know how I call it usually? Wheel of death. Because that's basically our death is personalized here, of course.
Yeah, the wheel of life. Yeah, it's the wheel of death, right?
That's the wheel of death, right? And the enlightened being is here outside and pointing to the moon. That is loving kindness, we can say, right? Or compassion. This is what takes you out of it, and also correct understanding. So this horrible thing, all the suffering worlds, they are run by the machine, by the engine, by the heart of the wheel of life. And in the heart, you can see three animals, a pig.
I described it to him already.
Yeah, a pig, a pigeon, and the snake. So that's it. This is the...
With ignorance being at the very center of it.
Yeah, and ignorance represented by the pig means... it does not mean really that I do not know anything, right? Like ignorance, like I'm not educated. It means that I know something and I know it incorrectly. Because I look at like what?
Well, you look at things and think that they have some nature of their own that isn't coming from you. And that's the root of all, that's the main root of all of our ignorance.
Yes, somebody is yelling at me and totally I can see as separate from me, boy, it's a sick person. I have nothing to do with them, like I'm all nice and shiny.
They're horrible. I'm mad at them. I'm going to yell back.
Yeah, and I yell. Then out of this ignorance or misunderstanding, then my actions, other poisons come, right? I like something or I don't like something. And like, oh, I like these glasses, like, right? So maybe if he will not see, I can steal them. And so, and this is ignorant liking, right? I think that if I steal, I will get more. I am happy to be unethical, to get what I want, or to keep what I want. Like, I want to keep, I don't know, my millions, and then I will not pay taxes or something like that, right? Or ignorant disliking, which was incorrectly translated as hatred, is I want to get rid of cockroaches, for example, then I will kill them and I will not have them anymore, right? Everybody who ever killed cockroaches has never seen them again, right? Or mosquitoes, or like I don't like him, I will yell at him, and this is how I will correct our relationship, something like that. So the thing is why this translation is incorrect, because when you say non-desire, people they think what? Well, now I'm a yogi.
Yeah, this is well, you see this in the literature, and we've talked about it before also, but you see it doesn't mean that you don't desire anything, right? You do want to be happy. You don't want to suffer. You do want other people to be happy. So it's not that you don't want anything. and it's not that things don't matter to you, right?
Many spiritual paths, they lead into a dark corner because they incorrectly explain this idea. It's not that you should stop wanting things.
Yeah, and it's not that because things are empty, nothing matters.
No.
Things matter because they're empty, right? Because the screen that you're projecting your mind's images onto is blank, it's important that you project the right images. So it's not that.
If I want to have more money, I should be more generous.
Yeah.
I should give away more. This is not ignorant liking. Mm-hmm. So non-desire here nowadays we translate as not ignorant liking. Mm-hmm. Non-hatred here we translate nowadays is not ignorant disliking. Mm-hmm. Why we still have it here, like in our homeworks? Because it's a huge task to review everything in every single one of 18 courses. I think it should be done, but you understand, it takes a lot of resources. If you will answer instead of non-desire, non-hatred, you will say non-liking, non-disliking, then it will be okay for your homework.
He's still, Geshe Michael, who obviously wrote these, is still translating about 10 pages a day of Tibetan, which is an immense amount, particularly with the level of accuracy that he's doing it at.
Yeah.
So he's moved on. I mean, we can figure this out on our own. The translations that he's doing, frankly, right now, I would say he's the only person on the planet who can translate Tibetan into English the way that he does.
Russian and Ukrainian speakers, they are more fortunate. Mm-hmm. Because we have translated it and we tried to implement, better words.
Oh, well, yeah, coming later, yeah.
Sometimes we missed it, so maybe we still have to change something. Okay, so this is the whole thing about non-desire, non-hatred, non-ignorance. And also another thing, so non-desire is confused because people think, especially some, spiritual paths where they have also monastic, discipline, etc. Oh my God, that was a big deal. Like, yeah, I don't want anything. Like, I don't need anything. Like, I'm basically a piece of wood, right? This is not what it means here. Yeah. With the hatred, non-hatred, there is another thing. When people read hatred, really, I don't hate anybody. I don't treat people like that. And this is not about strong emotions. This is why it's an incorrect translation. It's really about like small liking, small disliking. It's about something that you do every single second. You look at anything and you have this background knowledge about the object. You like it, you do not really like it, or it's neutral. You see? So it's like every second. This is why it is important. This is why it belongs to three poisons. You do it right now.
Well, there was a movie, it's a long time ago, 20 years ago. Harrison Ford's on this spiritual path with the Tibetans, and he's working with the monks.
Sacred Grail?
I don't remember what it was. It was
Indiana Jones.
No, it wasn't Indiana Jones. But he's in the Himalayas, working with the Tibetan monk, and he's just sitting there, like in the snow, trying to meditate, like literally sitting in the snow trying to meditate. In the movie, he finally says, he gets tired of it, and he takes the text he was studying and he lights it on fire to warm up. And that isn't the point. The point is that you're not sitting in the snow meditating, right? Like that's a completely wrong idea of what a spiritual path is. You need to be comfortable. You know, if you're suffering, you can't think clear.
Yeah.
And you're going to get rid of your suffering by getting rid of your ignorance. And in order to get rid of your ignorance, you need to think clearly, and your body has to be comfortable. And so, you know, you should have a clean, safe house. You know, you should have good food. It doesn't, you know.
Yeah, some spiritual paths, they were so weird that they had a special term like kill the flesh, you know.
Yeah, there were at times there have been monks who've, you know, like they've whipped themselves, you know, self-flagellation, or they wore hair shirts.
Self-punishment.
Self-punishment. Yeah, it's not helpful.
Okay.
I mean, and you can see from this definition of karma, well, is that going to bring you something virtuous, right? Is that going to bring you positive results? No, you're just hurting yourself, right?
Yeah. So basically, a non-desire is when you like something, you know where it comes from, and you plant seeds to get it, right? If I like, what do I like? Chocolates.
Yeah.
Then I should fill bill with more chocolates, right?
Oh boy, we got a lot to go.
Yeah. So there are two more things. So non-desire, which is non-liking, non-disliking, and misunderstanding, which is the opposite of not misunderstanding, is wisdom. And there are two more things that are always present when you do virtue. Avoiding something, right? Avoid bad deeds because of yourself, and avoid bad deeds because of others, right? And because of others, it's basically this is the word that does not exist in English. We translate it as consideration.
Shame and consideration. Yeah, these are pretty powerful ideas here.
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead, Malak.
Well, shame is the idea that even if somebody doesn't see you doing it, you do it, I mean, frankly, out of consideration for yourself, right? And then consideration is not doing something negative out of concern for other people. And so it's not guilt, it's shame and consideration.
Yeah. So this Chelyu is the word that is not in English. And I was making joke that it's not fair that you do not have the word in your culture, that I was blamed that I don't have it all my childhood.
That's self-esteem.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's self-esteem. Ask me why I've heard that term.
Well, did somebody tell you?
I don't know why.
Okay. So these two are two negative things, like two thoughts why you avoid bad deeds that are also by default are good deeds. Then there was a question like, is there any negative emotion that can bring positive result? There was a debate during the class, right? Yes, there is one negative emotion, only one, that brings positive results, and this is regret. So instead of feeling guilty, you feel regret because, like, for example, I really did something stupid, then I regret, meaning I will not do it again. It was stupid. The only person who will suffer from it is myself, because I have planted seeds by hurting other people, and then I regret. And I can do 4 powers, right? That we will study later. Okay, then what's next? Then there are two more. So remember there were,
I think we did shame and consideration.
We can stop slides for a while because we have done two kinds of good deeds, right? Nirvana and this Novo Niki Geva, like three of them we just said: non-desire, non-hatred, non-ignorance, and two more are Notza and Trelyu, right? Shame and consideration. But then there are two more left, and they're actually pretty cool. One is Tunden, which is translated as association. It means if you are doing something good, then everything may be otherwise neutral together with this will be also colored by this good thing. Like, I don't know, you decided to help somebody and you're in the process of helping, and then everything neutral that you do together with this will be colored the same way, right? So I think the cool thing with this association is when you do projects, right? I was thinking why Geshe Michael always tells us, like gives us projects. I think maybe he's using this association, while you're doing something great.
Yeah.
Then you also, plant additional seeds. And the last one is Kunlun out of these four. So these are four, again, four kinds of good karmic deeds. Nirvana, good deeds by the nature, association, and motivation. If you do something that may be otherwise neutral, maybe otherwise even bad for somebody, but with a strong positive motivation, then it is a good deed. It's about sandals on the statue's head. Right? So this is why we do motivation before getting into the class, because everything that you do within this hour or 1 hour and a half, depending on the length of the class, will be from now on positive. You are planting great seeds. This is why. Okay, so what will you do, my love, if you know all these things, right?
If you understand all the, and this is just an introduction to it, right? I mean, it's hard to know, which is why motivation's so important. If as long as you're trying to help people,
you're planting good seeds.
The good things you do will be stronger, and the mistakes you make will be a lot weaker, right?
Yeah.
Like if you were trying to cook a meal for somebody and you accidentally used food that was like you accidentally put poison in it and killed them, it wouldn't be anywhere. So you would have some small amount of negative action, but it would be really tiny because you didn't intend to kill them, and you didn't know what you were doing, and you would regret it afterwards.
Yeah. We have a question I was going to just, to answer in the chat, but then I think it is important to say, like, Anastasia is asking this principle of anicca. I think it's ahimsa, right? That is practiced through vipassana meditation, not liking, non-disliking, in order to balance your mind, because everything changes. Is this the principle? Yes, and it is messed up by many people, maybe including vipassana teachers, which I don't know. I have never taken their training. I think it can be easily messed up.
Well, ahimsa, I thought meant nonviolence, but that's I mean, that's from the Yoga Sutras.
Anicca.
Anicca. Am I looking at the Oh, Anicca.
non-like and non-dislike.
Yeah, I have no idea what that is.
We have taught ACI 3, and I think you will find in ACI 3 what it means for the meditation. Yes, there is balanced meditation, and it's not about stop to like anything and stop to dislike anything. This is exactly what we said. Stop to like and dislike things incorrectly, which is without understanding where it comes from. Okay, so there's always somebody when we teach it. I'm not sure we have these people today or not, who comes and say, but what if, like, for example, a new Hitler is born and he is a child, but I know already that he will kill that many hundreds of millions of people. So we'll be killing in this case, be good or bad. What do you think?
Yeah, it's a long subject. But at one point, Lord Buddha was a ship captain, right? And he saw that one of the people on the ship was going to kill 500 people. And so he killed that person ahead of time. And I think he collected the bad karma for it because he wasn't fully enlightened at that point. He had the ability to see into the future. But
he actually didn't kill, right? He sent him on, right?
Yeah, okay, sent him on, right? Anyway, yeah.
Which is totally for a very, 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 very high bodhisattva, they have this ability to send the spirit, can we say the spirit, the mind of the person to a totally different world, let's say, where he will never suffer again, and he will get to enlightenment, basically.
Yeah, and then and I'll be honest, that particular teaching never really settled all that well with me, because if there's another being out there that has the ability to send an evil person on to a higher realm, well, why aren't they sending the good people to a higher realm?
That's a good question.
I was like, well, maybe. I think it's a lower school teaching, by definitely.
I answer to this question.
Okay.
Yeah, I do.
The Buddha doesn't like us?
No, because just relax a little bit. We are here in the lower.
Yeah, all right. We've still got to get through all 10 of these non-virtues.
Yeah. So in this realm, the spiritual path is much faster.
Yeah. That could be. It's entirely possible. Yeah. I mean, well, anyway, yeah, that's a long discussion.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway, if you know now how the reality works, if you want something good, you should do good to other people. If you hurt other people, then you will get something bad, right? And I was saying that I listened to some other tradition monk yesterday, because I wanted to see like how they interpret. And guess what? Somebody was asking him, like, if I'm getting sick, does it mean that this is because I do not respect such and such rules? And he says, yes. So basically, he confirmed that they accept karma, right? Because to get the result within your lifetime is about karma. And this is why every single religion in the world has ethical principles that they follow. And there are also ethical principles in these teachings.
It's a really fascinating thing, with Wikipedia. You can go look, and the golden rule is there. Like it's really impressive. There's a list of like 20 or 30 different religions and philosophies, and quotes from the founders in the original text, all of them saying, treat people the way you want to be treated. And well, why is that? I mean, they have different explanations, but it's gonna ultimately come down to, cause and effect and emptiness. They may say, well, God's gonna punish you, but it's working exactly the same way as cause and effect and emptiness. And then, and just from the Christian perspective, if you go through the New Testament, you can see examples where Jesus is saying, your results will be similar, the results will be stronger, all four laws of karma, that you're not going to get a result unless you take an action. If you take an action, you will get a result. They're direct quotes for all four of those things. Really, obviously, he's talking about the same exact process, because this is universal, right? This is it's pretty clear Jesus had what the Buddhist would call the direct perception of emptiness, and he'd seen it, and he's going to people and he's telling them, hey, look, this is what's going to happen to you, and be careful, because you want to be happy and free from suffering.
And I want to answer the question we have. So the law has no right to give people the death sentence. Every time you do something to another person, you will get the result yourself, right? So it's not, there is no such a person as the law, right? But there is somebody, an individual who does the death sentence. And will he get good results or bad results? Depend, of course, on her motivation.
Well, from the perspective of this philosophy, which I think is accurate and universal, the idea of a government being empowered to take a life as a matter of law is, you wouldn't do that, right?
You don't want the result, I would say.
You don't want the result of taking somebody else's life. Now, if they were a criminal and hurting people, well, separating them is for their own benefit and society's benefit. But then to take their life at that point, is that necessary? You wouldn't do it. Capital punishment as a matter of law would be a mistake.
Yeah, and then if you do something that is like ambiguous, good and bad, then just remember that you will get both results. You will get the good result and you will get the bad result.
All right, so the 10 non-virtues.
Yeah, the 10 ethical principles, they are coming from 84,000 bad or good actions we do on daily basis. And if they are shrunk to this 10,
well, these are like, you'll see in old Middle Asian literature, they use the term 84,000 frequently, and it's like saying, oh, I've got a ton of work to do. It's not exact. It's a figure of speech. But they're saying out of the 84,000 mental afflictions that you could do, and I think Geshe at one class said, there are literally 84,000, but then it's like, well, anyway, it's these are the top 10 of the countless thousands of mental.
Yeah, and if they are top 10, it means you make it also every single second.
Well, or all day long, right? I think I can go a few seconds without killing.
I mean, also, we will get into more details. Let's today name it and briefly describe it. And then at some other point, there will be, I think it's class 7 or 8, we will go into details.
And you will see these 10 non-virtues constantly. These are really, really basic.
And 10 non-virtues is, again, the old translation.
Okay, yeah. Well, I'm the old guy.
Because Bill was studying with Geshe Michael. He is like second stage of his teaching career, right? First was in New York, then there was Arizona stage of Geshe Michael teaching, and I am a new generation when Geshe Michael was teaching mostly through DCI. He was teaching people without religious context, without anything that is like really Tibetan. So let's think how, let's remember how it is called right now. It's 10 good deeds or 10 ethical principles.
Okay.
This is how you can hear it also, right? Okay. Killing, stealing, sexual misconduct. Everybody looks at this and says, oh, I'm okay. I'm not really killing, not really stealing, not really doing anything bad sexually.
Yeah. So these are the 3 deeds done with your body, right?
Yeah.
And so killing would also include abortion. The Buddhists are pretty clear that there is, at the moment of conception, there is a mind stream that's in that from the very in the egg and the sperm once they're joined, and so terminating that pregnancy is it would count here in this.
Killing also involves animals,
Yeah,
insects, right?
Yeah, anything.
We avoid, if we understand how the reality works, killing will bring killing, right? I mean, if it's funny, Geshe Michael, he used to say that if you would step on the cockroach and then the same moment your ribs would crash, right?
Crack.
Would crack, then you probably would never do it again. Unfortunately, we will study more the laws of karma, and you will see that there is a time gap. So when you do something, the seed is planted the same moment, but it's like a potential in your mind that, and the seed will open maybe in a couple years, maybe in 20 years, maybe next life. This is, by the way, the subject of the next class, when it will open. So the seed opens, and then you get, something similar, right? If I was killing somebody, then I may die young. People, they get cancer, they are being killed themselves, etc. So,
and this gets to be complex too. So you drive to work so that you can make money, so that you can feed your family, but you kill bugs as you're driving your car.
yeah, or you
do you collect the negative karma of having killed something when you're driving to work? And the answer is yes. Yeah, you do collect the karma. It's really weak. You didn't mean to kill the bug. Your intentions were good. It's not going to be a very strong karma, as opposed to going out into the woods and hunting for entertainment, right? That would be a much stronger karma. Well, there, what you're doing. You've identified the object. You've pulled the trigger. You took pleasure in it. You plan on doing it again. Much stronger karma.
Yeah. So, and also there are rules of circles, right? Around this, like killing is the core. But okay, maybe I didn't kill anybody, but what can bring me to killing? Like really hating somebody, like thinking that it would be good if they would be gone, if they would be dead, like this kind of thinking, or striking another person, or like the farther away, like unintentionally killing bugs, or the farther away texting messages when you're driving, right? And somebody can suffer out of your actions. These things also count. Anything we left? Stealing, same, right? Maybe you do not steal from other people, meaning you do not go to the subway or bus and get into somebody's pocket.
Yeah. You're probably not running down the street and grabbing the purse off little old ladies' backs and then running away with it, right?
Yeah.
If you are, please stop.
Don't do it anymore.
That's not going to work. But how do you steal What used to happen at my workplace all the time, uh, not at the company I'm at now, but when I was at American Airlines, there was a rule that said pilots get paid by the minute. And when the plane's moving, so you don't get paid if you're at the airport or in a hotel or whatever. You only get paid when the airplane's moving.
Which is
And
not fair.
well, there's other rules, but for the sake of this example, they can't just go sit you in a hotel forever without paying you. But they so basically you get paid by the minute. And what guys would do is when the plane came in and stopped, you were supposed to not get paid anymore. And it was also related to setting the brakes. So when the plane stopped and the brakes were set, they would the clock in the plane would stop the time and you wouldn't get paid anymore. And what guys would do was they would sit there, and if they had to wait for the gate agent, what they would do is they would wait until right before the gate agent opened the door, and then they would release the brakes. Well, and that would start the clock over again. Well, the plane might not have moved for 10 or 15 minutes, and theoretically, by the contract, you weren't supposed to be getting paid. Well, that's pretty minor, right? Like, you're still in the cockpit, you're still the legal authority for control of the aircraft. And so, was releasing the brakes that big of a deal? Well, according to this, yeah, you're stealing, right? You're not, the police aren't going to come and get you. Your manager isn't going to come and, like, talk with you. But you had a contract with the company that said, when the plane stops moving, you're not going to get paid anymore. And so, yeah, that would be stealing. And so another example that you'd see in an office all the time is you're getting paid for the time, but you're, scrolling through social media, or you're talking on the phone to a friend, or you're
printing documents that you want
yeah, right.
for yourself.
There was, there was
bringing something home from your work.
Yeah, there used to be a cartoon back when we would, read the cartoons every day in the newspaper, and one of them was Dilbert, and Dilbert was hilarious, and he was he worked in an office, and one of his coworkers was Wally, and Wally would talk about, he was always unhappy, and he was like talking about building a better life through office supplies. And so he would steal the office supplies and take them home and tell you how to use them at home.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's stealing.
Sexual misconduct, that's a tricky one, because, oh my God, I don't know how we will do with this one. Okay, let's be honest, completely. Let's be completely honest, okay?
We can start with the big one, right? Like gross sexual misconduct.
Yeah, it's always bad, right?
Yeah, gross sexual misconduct is, if you're
engaged or married,
well,
you have your partner, right?
You're engaged in some kind of sexual conduct.
No, you are engaged.
or that if you have some kind of sexual activity that, like sleeping with another man's wife, right? And then it causes them to break up. That would be gross sexual misconduct. So, something that,
if you have your partner and you date or flirt even, or gross sexual misconduct, like you really sleep with somebody else first, or like you don't have partner, but another person has the partner, that's same.
Yeah. If you're single, any sexual activity that's hurting the partnership of somebody else is, like adultery. Right.
Because you plant seeds to for your partnership to be broken also.
Yeah, you can see pretty clearly, right? Blank screen, mental images. I cause problems with somebody else's relationship. Guess what? I'm going to have problems with mine.
I am helping to a lot of people with the relationship. Believe me, it is always the case when a person cannot get a partner for a while. There is a reason for this, and even if it happened to you, just study these things and do practically what you're supposed to do, like do the 4 steps or whatever, 4 powers, right? And you will get your result. Just you have to be more consistent than other people.
You can clean up these karmas. The point about this isn't to, you know, feel guilty, right? The point is to feel, and everybody is going to show up on some level or another with all 10 of these. It's super common.
Usually we have all 10 of them, so don't think you are special.
On some level or another, right? Even if it's just, you think, well, I've never had sexual misconduct, mentally, almost certain, right? And mental actions count, but then you can clean them up. So the point isn't to feel guilty. The point is to feel regret, right? And to start working on these things so that you can have a happy result.
Yeah. And then we wanted to be completely honest.
Yeah.
If you read straight Vinaya texts on ethics and morality, what you will find here, oh my God, so many people, they were thinking to quit ACI because of this class. Just stay with us, okay? Yeah. I will say something, but you promise to stay for 5 more minutes after that, at the very least.
Yeah, well, yeah, don't run away because of this.
Yeah. So in the old monastic texts, they write that everything that is like sex in presence of statues of the Buddhas, you know, oral sex, like homosexual relationship, like basically everything that is not strictly procreative, like that will not lead to like
pretty much any kind of sex for the purpose of other than having a child, right?
Yeah. It is stated here in the open teachings as sexual misconduct. You promise not to run away, okay? now it is coming. But we have to tell you what is in the text. So there is a reason why. The whole trick about open teachings, and especially monastic discipline, the entry point to these teachings is through renunciation. Mm-hmm. When you do not think that this reality owes you something, that it will, like, it all will be happy, it all will be good. No, it won't, unless you plant a seed. And to get to this point of renunciation, when you do not believe anymore that somebody will come, you know, and I don't know, superhero will come and save you, until you really understand how it works, you need to have some mental space, you know, you need to have some dedication, right? Mm-hmm. So monks, they are not allowed to do this. And also kind of open teachings, they also like see more or less the same way.
And the idea is that you only have so much energy
and time,
and the highest use of this life is to get out of samsara. And so if you're using your sexual energy
to entertain yourself,
well, then that's energy that's lost, that could have been used to save every living being, and that's where it's coming from.
Yeah. So there is a reason you should not stop sex with your husband or wife.
You don't.
If you are a gay person, that's fine. Yeah, you still are welcome in this teaching.
Please stick with us.
You even can do oral sex, to be completely honest. Okay.
I wasn't going to say that, but yeah, there.
Why?
You can, of course you can.
So it's not about it. It's about the fact that people see it as entertaining. The seats are crazy expensive, very expensive. Mm-hmm. And if you will waste your life because of it, that will be a pity.
Yeah.
That's it. So, and the higher you will go, you will hear additional part of of knowledge to this subject. Let's finish it here.
So, but Geshe Michael gives a particularly strict, hardline version of it in the class.
Because he has to be based on the books, and time changes, people changes. This is what the books say.
Yeah.
And we do not think it should be taken literally anymore. If you're not monks.
Yeah. Yeah, basically.
Or nuns. Okay. Then for speech, it will be faster because this is pretty much self-explanatory line.
Well, this is interesting because a lie technically is any time you knowingly create a false impression in somebody else's mind. And so you could say something that is a fact, and that fact is a lie, right? But how would you give somebody the wrong impression with a fact?
Like with the intonation, or also something that is true, but the way they perceive it. Like, for example, if I will say I'm a Buddhist to literally anybody that is outside this apartment here, then it will be a lie. Mm-hmm. Because in their imagination, it will not be the same that in my imagination. Because when in these teachings, you can call yourself a Buddhist, it means that you understand how the reality works. I mean, you know that your actions will bring the result.
Well, I can give you an example of a lie. Like there are there would be, like, in student towns, college towns, there could be a bar called the library. And so, you know, your mom could call you and say, "Hey, what are you doing?" You say, "Well, I'm at the library." You know, and so it's true, you know, you're at a bar called the library, but you're giving your mom the wrong impression that you're studying, right? Yeah. So that's a lie. You've said a fact, I'm at the library, but you've told a lie because you've given them the wrong impression that you're not studying, you're drinking a beer. Yeah. So.
Okay, that's line. Line is to give wrong impression, not only not to tell the truth.
Well, and the thing is, if you lie to other people, your words will lose their power. When you see somebody who has a very powerful speech, like the Dalai Lama, right? He walked out of Tibet with nothing. Oops, I didn't say that. Okay, so you see somebody
like Lincoln.
Okay, you see somebody like Lincoln, right, whose words were extremely powerful and brief, and he was famous for not lying. Mm-hmm. And so your words, when you don't lie, gain a power to them. And if you're trying to help people, that's very important. And the other direction, if you do lie, you can tell people the truth and they won't believe you, even if you're telling them the truth. And that has obvious problems also. So.
Okay, then divisive talk, that's the fifth one. We have, what else? Harsh words.
Divisive speech would be saying something that separates people, like causing problems, right? Like, oh, you know, boy, Bob at work is such a jerk. And you're trying to get one of your fellow coworkers to not like Bob. That's divisive speech.
Yeah, harsh words is also like same that line. It's not only when you use bad words, but also when somebody will be hurt because of what you told them, right? Mm-hmm. Like for example, I can use nice words, but with the bad tone of voice, mm-hmm. Or like I know that what I will say nicely will hurt even more. So it's also harsh speech. Then idle talk. Idle talk is funny because in the beginning of your past, this is probably the the least problematic, and it becomes problematic with the farther you go, because our time is limited here and we cannot waste it.
And it takes an extraordinary amount of energy to talk. When you're in retreat, you can feel all that energy coming back to you because you're not talking. And it's really nice. And so idle talk is wasting your life's energy also. Someday you will go into retreat and you're going to be impressed with how much energy it takes to talk.
Yeah, and it's not only that you are talking rumors or something, it's much more sophisticated than that.
Yeah, it's just blah, blah about nothing.
Yeah, and also not doing important things, not only talking, right? Okay, and 3 more are done in our mind. First one is jealousy. It was translated before as craving, but it's actually when somebody else has what I want, and I want to get it instead of him or her.
Like, being unhappy when somebody gets something good.
Yeah,
right.
That's it. Completely nonsense, because if you know the laws of karma, you know that other people, they start getting what you want just before you will get what you want.
And it's really it's being unhappy when somebody gets something good. And boy, when you start watching your mind, looking for it with a clear definition of that, oh boy, is it shocking how often you do it, right? And because I wouldn't have thought I was a jealous person, but then when you really look, you're like, oh, well, he got a raise and I didn't, or just things like that. It's really it's if you're human, it's pretty pervasive.
Or it's same like idle talk. We do it all the time,
It's so baked into your thinking. It's so much a part of your thinking, you don't even realize you're doing it.
Yeah.
And which is why it's helpful to examine it and look at it, because then you can start combating it, right?
And the definition of idle talk, I have a question in the chat, is when you will forget what you were talking about, or like news, something within a matter of several days. It is not leading you to anywhere. Like, you're not talking to a decision maker, you are not there are people who say, can you believe what he has done? That's already an idle talk, because can you believe what somebody has done? Why would I bother talking about it to a third person, right?
Oh boy, yeah. It's
go and solve the issue with the decision maker, with another person, right? Okay. Moving to the ill will. Ill will is exactly what it means. When I wish somebody to be hurt,
when you're happy that something bad has happened to somebody else.
Yeah. That's it. Even you think the person deserves it. The problem is that only you will get the result, even you think they deserve it. Ron Hughes, Lokta, this is the most important, the basis of all the rest, right? Because if I misunderstand where the reality comes from, then I will be jealous and wishing bad to people and do idle talks, harsh words, and all the rest.
Basically thinking that cause and effect isn't what's driving your life, and being motivated to do selfish things as a result.
Yeah. Now we have 2 questions and we will finish the class. If you had to kill somebody in self-defense, or is that the same as not yelling back when somebody yells at you? That's a good question. but you probably know already by the end of this class the answer, because it doesn't matter what you do. You will get everything good that you have in the section will bring you good result. Everything bad that you have in the section will bring you bad result. If you kill somebody, killing will bring you bad result. Then self-defense can be really different if you know these teachings or you don't know. Really.
And it's a situation of, okay, so somebody's attacking you with a knife.
Imagine this is your mom.
That's it. How would you handle it if your mom had gone insane and was attacking you with a knife?
Yeah.
And so then,
or kid.
So if you were, yeah, or your child, right? And so, you know, even though people are doing things that are hurting you, it's not okay to hate them. It's not okay to hurt them out of a desire to hurt them, right? But, you know, and it gets to be very complicated. You could make an entire career out of trying to figure out, you know, what's right and what's wrong.
Yeah. So remember that you are doing it to yourself every single time.
And I'm going to talk a little bit more about this. I've heard Geshe say that, you know, if you're being attacked, then run away. And if you can't run away, then surrender. But we were talking about this before class, and how do you introduce that concept? What do you do if you're being attacked and you have your wife and your children to protect? Well, then what do you do, right? But what if running away is not an option? And then are you going to surrender your wife and children to the attackers? You know, I don't.
You do the best you can, right? With understanding that if the situation is really bad, that you don't have good options, then this is coming from your past deeds, right?
Yeah, I mean,
and it should not be this way.
I mean, I've thought about this quite a bit. Like, what would you do in that situation? You know, okay, so if it's just yourself, right? Then, you know, it's complex, because that you don't want to let that other person, like if it's a one-on-one situation, right? Like your mom's crazy, she's coming at you with a knife. Well, your mom doesn't want to have the
seeds from killing you,
the result from killing you either, right? And so would your mom be better off if you were to disable her forcefully? Well, yeah, probably your mom's better off in that situation. And you know,
do what you can to plant the best seeds that you can in the current situation.
And boy, this is going to go on. When you really start looking at your vows and what to do and when and how to behave, and you start understanding the results of your actions, it can get quite complex, and you're going to be challenged. And it's easy here to say, well, you know, do this, don't do that. As you go on in your life and try to apply these things, it can be quite difficult to decide what to do at times. And that struggle, as long as you're struggling with it and genuinely trying to do the best that you can, things will get better for you. You're not going to be perfect. It's going to be impossible to be perfect until you've had the direct perception of emptiness, right? The most virtuous thing you do is going to have something non-virtuous. The most non-virtuous thing you do is also going to have something virtuous, right? It's every action you take is going to be a mix of black and white.
And the most important, do not agree to the options you have right now if they are both bad. Like, think to yourself that, yeah, this is as of today, but I really want to stop these bad things in my life and for everybody else. Okay, and the last question, what about polygamy, I think, when all partners have agreed to several partners and do not lie to each other? I really wanted to read this question because the very first question, right, in this class, like 3 kinds of karma: good, that will bring good result; bad, that will bring bad result; and neutral. You do something good, you get all the time something good. You do to other person something that is painful, you will be forced to feel the pain. So considering this, that it never changes, it's merciless, but it's always true, then think about this situation. Is there anybody who is hurt there? Like, will I do something in this weird situation that is not usual? Are there other people that will feel that something goes wrong with this? And probably there will be.
In the most strict version of the rules, you're not supposed to waste your life's energy.
Yeah.
And so in the most strict version of this, they're going to say, well,
that's not right.
That you're if you have multiple partners, you're just wasting your energy multiple times. And so even if you, and then, oh my gosh, yeah.
All kinds of crazy things can happen, but better not to get into these issues if you can.
Yeah.
If you're not yet in the polygamy situation, then stay away, okay?
I mean, yeah.
Okay, that was the end of the class.
Okay, great. Hopefully it raises lots of questions because it should raise lots of questions, but it's a great place to start. And it's interesting to look at.
And because you have just planted, especially translators, I don't feel guilty, but I regret that we are over time. But it's very sexy class, right?
Oh, can we have a sexy class? Is that allowed?
Okay. Yeah, I think we can say.
We could say
it's a great
okay.
class.
It's okay.
So close your eyes. Think about the fact that you have just spent 1 hour 40 something minutes thinking and studying these profound ideas, and dedicate all these seeds to every living being on this planet and in other places. And imagine then with first exhale, rays of light coming out of your chest. Touch everybody around you, people you like, close relatives, friends. With the second exhale, send the goodness, can I say, goodness of this study to everybody on this planet, to see them as better people. And the third exhale, send to everybody everywhere in the universe, wherever they are, through the time and space. Open your eyes. Thank you for participating. Come again tomorrow, same time.
Do your homeworks.
Tomorrow will be a very sexy class.
All right.